Hello.
Hi.
We had one drop already.
Just
Alright, looks like we're all here. There's Simon. Can everyone do a quick mic check? Dandav? Working on that, it seems. Psycho?
Hello?
Yep. The Rage.
Hi, yeah, it's Neil, by the way. I'm not my real name.
But the Rage is so much better.
There is a story to it, but no, I'll save that for another day.
Alright, and Zanny. I heard her earlier.
hello.
Hello?
Alright, let me adjust my own sound because it's a little off. There we go.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we
Yes,
can.
There
yes!
we go. Yeah, cool. Done. I think we're just doing microphone rather than camera as well.
Boop. There we go. Alright, so the pronunciations of your character's name, I have Lear,
Yeah.
Emmerich, Zilcina. Does that sound
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then Avalon.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. I'll try to maintain association to your characters and voices. Usually I play with some overlays, and when I play with new people, it'll pop up on my overlay over my screen so I know who's talking.
Yeah.
But the modded version doesn't allow me to do that, so we're run as is. How's everyone doing tonight?
Not bad. How are you?
I'd say pretty good.
Is there a way of full screen in the stream?
You should be able to, yeah.
I am.
At the bottom right corner, there should be the extra buttons.
Oh yeah, sweet. Oh, power, that's so much better.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm messing with some of my settings at the moment too.
Yeah, this is probably
Get
the
out of
first
that.
time I've seen this. What's it?
Oh.
Telspar used in real life. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've never shown you Telspire, I guess. I was always
Yeah.
messing with the stupid the face rig and stuff in the game.
Nice.
I'm really curious to see it as well.
Well, I've been using it for about a year and a half in my other campaigns, so hopefully it goes well.
Yeah, it seems to be streaming pretty clearly at the moment.
Yeah,
For
it's
me,
pretty
at
good.
least.
It's pretty solid to me as well.
That's fine for me.
Are you able to actually work it?
Right, I can see it on the Discord.
We won't need Discord too much. I usually minimize it most of the time. Some static coming through. Let me adjust that a little bit if I can. There we go. Okay, so for whatever reasons you came to Baldur's Gate, you were roaming around taking care of your daily business, and you saw an ad posting wanted for adventurers to head over out into the Western Sea, across the ocean, into a newfound land where the proprietor, Theodore Oram, had requested to send some adventurers to see what happened to the previous encampment that was out there. They've been missing for a good 2 to 3 weeks now, and there's been no contact, no following boats coming back, and he's getting a little worried and trying to discover what's going on. So as you answered the ad that was posted, you were all set up an appointment to meet back up to Aram's Villa at 3 p.m. Right now it's the late winter, early summer season where the snow is just getting to melt off the Mothrus. There's very little accumulation. It's still a little crispy cold, but mostly you don't have to wear any heavy furs at the moment. Real quick, can I get initiatives on everyone, please?
Wow, that was quick. Ooh, I haven't even put my D&D Beyond sheet. Hang on.
That's an 11 for me.
I got
Do you want-
12.
And Emmerich, what'd you get?
I haven't even rolled it yet. Give me a sec. I was mucking around with something else and haven't put it up on the sheet. So really sorry.
And like I said, you're free to roll physical dice if you want to.
Yeah, I haven't even got those out either.
Oh.
Sorry.
I unfortunately,
One moment.
unfortunately, my table's got like a pile of dice here and a pile. It's very unkept.
It's my work desk as well, because I'm one of these people that's like temporarily, permanently working from home. So it's
Welcome to the club there, definitely.
yeah. Right, initiative. Let's go. Does that come through?
I got a 22.14.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So yeah, as you all prepare to meet over at Oram's Villa, Emmerich, you're the first to arrive. As you show up, there's an elderly gentleman waiting outside, just not making any eye contact, looking at the ground. He's very well kept in a somewhat presentable business suit, but it's a little shabby and patchy at places. Like he's been repairing it himself. Are you gonna wait, or are you just gonna talk to the old man, or what do you want to do?
I'm going to be a little bit anxious about this scenario because I just sort of shuffle over to the side and take up a position, sort of looking across and just wait for more people to turn up, see what the kind of situation is.
Okay.
Before I get involved.
As about 5 minutes pass by, Lear and Zilzina arrive.
Right, so could I go up to the guy?
Yeah, he doesn't really address you. He kind of shuckles away from you as you approach him.
How's it going, mate? You alright?
Oh, yes, of course. Has your full party arrived?
I don't know. I don't know if that party. Don't really know anyone else.
Ah, right, quite right. And he kind of looks around and he's counting you off. I believe we're... Go ahead. Okay. I believe we're missing one. We can wait a few more minutes. And a few more moments go by, and Avalon appears.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry, am I late? Hello?
Don't worry about it, we're all here now, aren't we?
We're here for the newfound world.
Feeling a bit more confident than there's a few other people out there. I sort of move up fairly diffidently on the outside. Yeah, I'm here for as well for the offer of the work and the expedition.
Oh, good. That's why I'm here too.
Well then, if you follow me inside, I'll take you to meet Mr. Theodore Oram. To let you know, he's a little eccentric. Please don't be too insulted if he calls you by the wrong name, and he may be slightly distracted, but he has the full attention of speaking with you today. So, right this way. All right, and he walks you inside. And he takes you through this lavish first floor, which looks to be a large party house, with drinks and a large fireplace in the center. It's very warm as it's being kept at full blast during the winter cold. And the steward just takes you around and leads you up to the second floor. And as you approach the end of the tavern at the upstairs, he goes over to the doors to this very eccentric dressed man, lavished in golden threading, accents all over, bright white, very clean, kind of offsetting to what the steward's wearing. And he kind of isn't staring at your direction. He has his back to you as he's staring out upon the city. As the steward looks to you and kind of gives this long, drawn-out sigh. I present to you Lord Theodore Oram III. And at that mention, he swings around. Hello, everyone! Pleasure to see you all. How do you do?
Not bad, you?
Oh, splendiferous as I can be. Are you the adventurers that had entered the call today?
Well, I am.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, as what you may not have gleaned from the ad itself, there was an encampment recently that was over across the seas that we unfortunately have lost contact with. We don't know why, and we haven't heard anything in quite some time. What we want you to do is you're going to meet up with Captain Roderick of the Grand Duchess. It's the name of his ship, he so calls it. And basically you'll be the scouting ship taking off first before we send any of the larger ships on the way. The extra ships will have extra provisions, building supplies, and additional adventurers who came and called. But you will be definitely the first. As you arrive, I will, of course, give you about 50 gold apiece. You're free to spend it on any extra equipment or gear you may think you need before we take off. I've already booked you boarding. You'll be over at the Stinky Fish. It's a little residency over by the wharf, and you can stay the night there free of charge. But first thing in the morning, I would hope you board with Captain Roderick, and once you hit the horizon, the other ships will sail after. What say you?
Sounds good. Just at sunrise, just be there and we go. I'm excited for it.
I just want to get that one down. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Of course, we'll get you out as post-haste. But real quick, there's a few frivolities we must take care of, some business dealings. Winston! And he gestures over to the steward, and he's like, "It's William, sir, but yes." And he comes over to the table and starts pulling out some scrolls of parchment. If you would please sign these are contracts, basically of your pay and the owning of you would receive in the event of your death. If you'd please sign here, and state any next of kin, we will of course take care of you and send any additional funds that you would have made out to them for last rites and burial rites.
Avalon will spend a lot of time reading, like checking everything on the contract.
It's very extensive, going about as far as like earnings, wages, rights to discoveries. Most of the stuff values into you, where anything you discover or any first contacts that's not already on the map, you are free to name and claim as ownership until you hand that over to Orem if he decides to pay you a fee for it or not. But it does outline like a name, location of if you want to state next of kin or those two that you want to contact in the event of your disappearance. It's a very large spot on the contract themselves, as possibly he expects it, maybe not.
Lovely.
I don't even really look at it and just sign it.
Okay. And the pen they hand you is in this brilliant white feather with gold ink that you sign into this parchment.
I'm going to sign it as well, but I'm going to misunderstand where it says next of kin and just put my own name.
Okay. And William's not really paying attention. It's like he's just going through the motions of a signature's a signature. He's not going through. It's almost like he doesn't feel like he's being paid enough to deal with this kind of situation.
I don't
I
really.
sign it.
And Avalon, what are you doing?
I don't really have any next of kin per se, so do any of you want my stuff if I die?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, and she'll like slide the paper over so you can put your name in her next of kin contract.
What beautiful handwriting you all have. Oh, except for signed in the wrong place. But whatever, it's as long as it's on there, we're good to go. All right. Wallace, could you please hand them the gold? Sir, it's William. Never mind. And he lays out 4 bags of gold in front of all 4 of you. As you look into it, even though he said 50, it's a weird mix of gold that's collectively, yes, you all average 50 gold, but some of you have a little more, some of you have a little less. William didn't do his best to count through what he was giving you. Alright, so, like I said, go and see what equipment you would need. I would recommend Odokath. He's a little shop along the way to the pier, but if there's anything you want to check out, I believe the captain is over in the Stinky Fish. He may be just collecting a few things and ensuring the proper supplies are being loaded onto his ship.
Okay, cool. So guys, we go to the shop then?
Get shut
That sounds good to me.
Alright, and as you all start to dismiss yourself, Orem swings around, wafting his cape behind him to look out heroically upon the horizon once again, like he's ready for the next group to come through.
Quite the boss, eh?
Goodbye, Mr. the Third.
Goodbye! Alright, as you head back downstairs, again, you're in this busy tavern with a lot of people drinking and having a good time. If you wanted to hang out here, or go shopping, or go to the Stinky Fish itself to see your lodgings, it's up to you.
Well, this gold's burning a hole in my pocket.
I think the shop's for me as well.
Okay?
shop first. Dodges later.
Alright, so as recommended, he sent you over to Odokath, who's this little gnomish shop owner in the middle of the bazaar. Most things you can find there would be anything that would be a common item, any kits you're looking for, any supplies, ropes, all that stuff is available. There's a dinosaur on the map, I'm going to ignore that for now.
Do you want us to have a quick flick through what we might want to purchase then?
It's up to you.
Yeah.
So how much money was it? Was it 50 gold? Or
Uh, yeah. As you look through the bags, you realize it was roughly 50 gold per person. As you count it out, you're like, oh, I only had 46, and like, oh, this other person had 54. You're like, oh, okay, it's.
Fair.
And then any rations you wanted to pick up, or any foods or items like that. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to find anything magical at request at this time.
I try and find navigate tools, like fishing tackle, stuff like that. I need.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let you sort through your gold and subtract what you need to. Also, Dendav, you got a lot of reverb going on from my own voice.
yeah, I'm getting quite bad as well. Yeah.
Is that better?
Let's see. Yeah, much better. I don't hear myself talking over myself.
Oh yeah, that is better. Yeah.
Yeah, much better.
Cool. Other gear.
And as you approach the central bazaar area, there's a lot of ongoings, a lot of people talking. You see several adventurers walking around too, coming and going. But the stall that you were looking for, Odokath, is a tiny little gnome sitting behind the counter. He's got very rosy cheeks. His name is actually Odokath Cherry Cheeks. And you can only see like his chin up because the counter that they laid out for him was a little too high and it wasn't fit for his size.
I think I'm gonna head up towards him. I'm only like 2'5", so we ain't gonna be able to see each other. Like on tiptoes over the top of the table. Hello?
Oh, hello! Who's there? He's kind of on his tippy toes now. Hello? Anyone?
Hello? Hello? Oh. And she's gonna walk round to his side because we can't see each other over this counter.
Oh, hello there!
We're going on adventures and after supplies. If you're able to help with rations and tents and rope and whatnot.
Indeed I can. What are you looking for? A specific amount of length? Amount of food? Like, where are you heading actually?
We're heading west tomorrow by sea. These guys are coming with me, and she'll kind of gesture over to the other three. And we're gonna need supplies. Maybe if we buy in bulk, we get a discount.
Possibly. You're going out west. Oh, it's been a while since anyone headed out that way for quite some time, actually. I think the last group, when they went by, they stocked up for about 2 weeks worth of food and supplies.
2 weeks. Okay. Well, I guess maybe we'll need 2 weeks worth then.
Of course.
Do you know much about West? Have you been there?
I have not, unfortunately. The last group that went through was a large mining community that took off. And for a while, they were shipping back some jewels and gems that they found and dug up. But I don't know, for a while, some time ago, they stopped bringing anything back and stopped showing up. So I hope they're all okay.
That's what we're here to find out. We're gonna see what's happened there.
Well, good to you. So how much food you wanting? I can pick up a few things, or I can get you a going away cake. How's that sound?
Oh wow, that sounds splendid.
He kind of like hops over all excited, and he smacks the larger person behind there, who's obviously the cook. He's like, hey, they want some of that cake. And the big guy gets all excited, his eyes widen, and he starts rummaging around, and he pulls out this, what looks to be very thick and dense sponge cake. And he brings it out, he hands it to the gnome, and as the gnome takes it, he kind of drops it a little bit, not realizing how weighty it would be. And he brings it over to you. This is Jamie's secret, but I would eat it slowly, but it is very delicious.
Well, thank you. How much is it?
Well, if you plan on buying other things, it'll be free.
Thank you. Excellent. And Avalon will split it into 4 and then go to share the other 4 pieces with.
Yeah, so
Pie.
as he hands it to you, it's about 20 pounds
Oh,
of just hefty weight. So as you cut it, it cuts gently, but it's almost like cutting through butter in the thickness.
Cool. Okay.
Is it just
in
butter?
her arms, she'll like heave it over to the other. Go. What do you say?
I'm just asking for £20 butter. Put the icing on.
A lot of butter.
I take the piece of cake and kind of then sort of walk backwards and start nibbling at it. I can give
It tastes very sweet and cinnamony. But it is thick. It takes a while to chew. But yeah, it's very sweet. Tastes like cinnamon, and otherwise, it feels very dry at the end. So you don't want to like take a mouthful if you didn't have to.
Thank you. It was very nice.
A pleasure, a pleasure.
We need water with this.
So what are you looking to buy?
I've got a bit of a list in my head. I need fishing tackle, navigator's tools. You say 2 weeks worth of rations, so 14 rations, some soap, a tent, and a whetstone, and maybe an extra water skin if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, he rushes back into his area. He spouts off the list to Jamie, and Jamie's like, they're both scrounging stuff and putting up on the table for you.
And I'll just take that gold off my character, yeah.
Yep. Anyone else? Everyone else?
It's same stuff for me, but obviously the tent doesn't need to be as big. Have you got any vials as well, in case we find something? Pittance maybe? I don't know if we have to climb.
Oh, of course, of course. He actually goes around to the back this time and starts, you hear clanking of metal as he's like picking up the pitons and the climbing gear. And he kind of trips and a few of them clamber out onto the ground as he's like, oh, and he's just trying to quickly pick them up.
And the rope. Maybe 50 feet. or so.
50 feet? 50 feet, alright. And he goes and grabs the 50 feet of rope. What about you two? And he's pointing out to the others.
Have a tent and some 14 rations, please.
Okay. So for everyone that's purchased so far, he's giving you the rations for free.
Okay.
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 Would he have a mastiff by any chance?
He looks around and he doesn't see any dogs in the area, even one that he would like try to jokingly sell you.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Anything else you all need?
Some rations. Can I get some chalk maybe? And do you sell bags of sand?
Bags of what?
Sand.
Surely you can just get the sand at the beach? Or does that have to be
Can you?
I mean, I can get you some bags. I unfortunately I do not sell sand.
That'd be nice, yes.
Okay.
And a magnifying glass.
And then, did you want colored chalk? Like, I got several colors. I got this weird black chalk someone dropped off some time ago. White chalk, of
Black.
course.
Yes, black. I'll have black.
Oh, okay. And he gives you a bunch of black chalk.
Thank you.
Can I also have a crossbow and some arrows, please?
Yeah, how many arrows do you want?
It's about 20.
Okay, yeah. Oh, just the one bundle. Yeah, go ahead and mark it off.
Can I get a shovel as well, actually?
Yep. Yeah, anything that's a
Handy.
common item you can claim and adjust for.
Oh, might take a hunting trap.
We're looking through the list. Being like, what do we need? What do we
It's like
need?
what could I possibly need?
Oh god, I don't know where we're going. What are we gonna need?
I did have somebody cold weather gear. That's usually one that catches people out, and because it's quite painful
Fair.
if you get caught out. But it's not, I think we're going somewhere quite warm though, aren't we? Sorry, and signal whistle was always a good little one to have in your back pocket.
Yeah, so the current like I said, the state of things and the weather, you're just getting into the early spring where the snow is starting to melt around. So while it's still a little crispy chill, the water's probably really cold, but otherwise it's slowly starting to warm up in the sun. And from here you're heading straight west, so the temperature and climate will be relatively the same when you arrive. But if any of you ever looked at the map of Maztica, it is massive. So if you do go north, it probably will be snowy up there.
Cool. As far as tools go, get some. What's the ones with? Is it herb?
Herbalist kit?
Herbalist kit. Yeah.
Yep.
That's... And probably leather work too. We don't know where we're going.
Spyglass, 1,000 gold pieces.
Ooh.
You can borrow a couple of SP from me.
Might buy a healer's kit. Not that I'm very healy, but good way of getting somebody stabilized, isn't it?
We might need it.
That's got 10 uses, so one will do.
And then while you're all shopping, does anyone have any questions about the campaign itself? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. not because other than so it's 3 DMs and then you just post up as and when you're wanting to run sessions and we sign up.
Yes, so the other two, I think they've selected a night where they'll do routinely, and mine will be actually a little more random throughout the week.
And first come, first serve, I presume.
Yep.
Letting other people have a go.
Well, eventually when you start leveling, there'll be a tiered system to where if you join an adventure that's below your tier, you don't get as much experience, gold, and everything else. Or if you do a tier that's above yours and you survive, you get a lot more.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
And then after the end of each session, every game you play, you get a milestone point, and those will be used to either level up your character or level up the town or build something in the town itself. We have this whole flowchart of things that will progress.
Sounds pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, is everyone done shopping?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
All right.
There'll be loads I've forgotten, but yep.
It's like, why didn't I grab that thing?
Yeah, I should have got it when I could. Absolutely.
All right, so you have a room pending over at the Stinky Fish, where also Captain Roderick is hanging out and just making checks on his ship before he heads out. The name of his ship is, of course, the Grand Duchess.
Good night.
All right. So what do you all want to do?
Is there like a little bar area or in the inn? Just gonna grab a small drink. Sit
Uh,
down.
yeah, the inn does serve small meals for the fishermen that come in gold. It's not as fancy as the large den that Orm's place was.
If we want a drink, should we go back there?
People.
I think Avalon is happy to tag along with wherever.
I'll just.
Okay. So you're going back to Orm's place, or you're going to the Stinky Fish?
Dora's place.
I don't mind.
Orange place.
Actually, it's easier to do it this way.
Dora's place.
Yeah, as you come back to approach Orm's place, he's still standing out in the balcony, just staring off, kind of like just mumbling to himself. You see him like drawing in the air with his finger, but he's not really addressing anyone.
Seems a strange guy. I'm gonna stay downstairs.
All right. Yeah, as you head downstairs into the large atrium area with the massive fireplace. Again, it's very bustling, a lot of ongoings. There's a lot of patrons already. It's a little noisy, but there's no reason why you couldn't go order a drink if you were sitting at a table.
Can I get anyone anything?
Yeah. Get some mead. You don't mind? I'll
Me?
get. Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you?
That sounds nice. Yes.
All right. So yeah, there's the basics: mead, ale. There's two special things on the menu. One's called fire brandy, and the other one is apple wine.
Bye,
Apple wine for me, I think.
Okay. And the bartender just
Ale, or is it just given to us with the adventurers?
the stuff you're purchasing now is you have to pay for. This is not the place that Orm had booked for you.
How much is a bottle of the brandy?
Which one? The fire brandy?
Yeah.
It is going to be 5 gold for a bottle. And it is...
Two of them.
Okay, so the bartender actually kind of gives you an eye and has some concern before he grabs one of the bottles, and he walks it slowly towards you and places it on the table with his hand firmly on it and slides it over to you gently. And he does the same thing as he walks over, grabs the next bottle, and just delicately places it on the table, slides it to you, make sure it doesn't bump or jostle in any unusual ways.
Does this stuff explode by any chance?
It doesn't exactly explode, but it packs quite a punch. I'll ask you not to drink it facing me, if that's possible.
No, I'm not gonna. Now this is for take with me. So I don't know if I can get any beer or anything over there.
And then for the apple wine, he gets about a pint and starts pouring it out for Avalon. It's got a very fragrant apple scent. And it tastes very sweet, but still has a potent alcohol flavor to it.
She'll like swill it in the cup, give it a sniff, give it a taste.
Yeah, it's like an apple teeny.
Nice, thank you. And how much?
Oh, for the glass?
For all of it.
Oh, you want the bottle? Oh, okay. 5 silver, please.
She'll like push up 5 silver to the barman.
And very unlike the fire brandy, he just places it in front of you. He's like, oh yeah, have fun.
Thank you very much. Like 2 hands on the glass if it's a pint.
Right.
Uh-oh.
Got some mead.
Oh, I'm trying to figure out why the screen just went and did this thing.
So why are you guys heading out west. Nothing left here for you?
Set for adventure, really.
Hold on, let me reload this. I don't know what happened.
I have my reasons. Just very much like to get out of Baldur's Gate for the time being.
Seems like you're in the right place. I looked after a forest for many years. Well, the forest isn't there anymore. So I think it's time for a new life, and I thought, what better way to do that than to cross the sea and properly start afresh, start new. New people, new everything. That's my plan.
What happened to the trees? Did they just let Gath and leave, or?
The forest fire took out everything. I'd been there for years. I was the watcher, the keeper of the forest there, and clearly I hadn't kept an eye on everything. I prefer that we go somewhere new, we find a new forest, and need not worry about the old one, yeah?
Okay.
Lost a lot of friends. What about you then?
Bad breaking with the ex. Thought might as well just go somewhere else.
That sounds terrible.
Bitch.
You done much adventuring before? It's new to you, or have you been around?
Like I've been on ships and stuff. Was a second mate on a merchant ship. That's why I just thought, new sea. Let's have a look what's over there. Not much else to it, really.
I haven't really been on a boat before, so I'm glad we got someone that knows what they're doing.
That's right. It's just like land, but in the sea, and then it moves. Well, it is really.
I'll take your word for it.
It is kind of sea legs a bit.
Might be sick for the first couple of days or something because of the rocking motion, and stuff like that. But you'll get over it, I'm sure. Just throw up over the side of the boat, otherwise you're gonna get the backhands very.
Thank you.
So should we go and sit down somewhere
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, as you look about, there's not really any empty tables. You've just been standing at the bar for the most part. There is a bard in the far corner near the entrance who's been standing on a table where no one's been sitting. Most of his songs are kind of gritty, and he's got a grumbly voice, so a lot of people haven't really been paying attention to him.
We just go sit around that table while you're standing there and ignore him. That'd be funny.
Seems kind of rude, but okay.
They might move up a bit.
All right, as you approach him, he's kind of an elderly bard, in his near 80s, and he's singing quietly almost, but with a lot of strain and effort. And he kind of just strums and just bellows out a single chord. Do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry? Do you really want to? And he's kind of bellowing this, but because of his grainy voice, he's not getting the volume throughout the room.
Can I just sit at the table without making a fuss? Just completely ignore him like he's not there.
I'll look a bit uncomfortable and go and sit down at the table as well.
And now that he sees you all approaching, he's kind of really getting into it. Like, gyrating his hips as he's up there. He's very shaky as he's moving around because of his increased age. And he occasionally loses his balance, but is able to catch himself without falling off. But he feels as if he is performing for you four now.
You just watch me drink, mate. You almost knocked it over then.
Do you really want to hurt me? I forgot the song.
So, can I use my telepathic speech ability? So I can choose one creature you can see within 30 feet of you. You and the chosen creature can speak telepathically with each other while you're within 3 miles of each other. So I'm going to speak to him in his head
Mm-hmm.
without leaving reason my lips and say, "This is the demon Kavar. Your music offends me deeply. Leave now and never return to this place."
He kind of jolts back, shocked. Can I get a persuasion check?
Okie dokie. What's that come out at? 25. Wow. Okay.
Oh yeah, he's taken aback, and he's looking around the room like, did anyone else hear that? And he then looks over to.
I'm not making eye contact with him. I'm just looking down at my knee, looking extremely. Don't look at me. I'm
He-
not even here.
He looks down at the cup that was next to his feet that's empty and is like, what have I been drinking? Oh, okay. He grabs it and he jumps down, and kind of forgetting where he's at, he kind of takes the cup and goes outside.
You don't have to. Oh, he's gone. I'm kind of glad.
And you hear him bellowing still, but more of like a crying, singing, "Do you really want to hurt me?"
I think I've got another 30 seconds, so I again, not even moving, just go, leave.
He starts to quick up his pace, but being elderly, he's not able to full on sprint or anything. But he looks like he's got to go to the bathroom fast. And he is gone. You have the table to yourselves.
Guess we've got the table.
Oh, that's quite fortunate, isn't it? He obviously got upset by something. Good.
Like he's seen a ghost or something.
Yeah.
All right. There's the four of you at the table. You have a few more hours in the day before nightfall.
You have something to eat here, or should we have something to eat at the Stinky Fish when we get back there?
He did say we have some food.
Stinky fish for food? Yeah, if it's. Well, hopefully not stinky, but I do like fish.
Isn't the most auspicious name for a venue, is it?
Fish or real fishy.
So where do you hail from, all of you? Are you from Baldur's Gate or further afield?
Field.
Here and there, do you know what I mean? Lived on a boat most of my life.
I know something of that, yes.
You know, I've lived on a boat for most of my life.
All I know, I've not lived on a boat, no, but I've never really settled down anywhere.
Oh, I thought you talked about that you knew that I lived on a boat.
Oh no,
Okay.
I knew something of that kind of life and
Oh,
travelling.
okay. Now I understand.
So there's two of you that's been on boats before. That is comforting.
Oh no, I've never been on a boat before.
Oh. Okay.
You know, I'm a traveller.
I have.
You have been on a boat?
Yeah, I have been on a boat before.
All right. A few more hours pass, and the sun is getting towards dusk.
Should we think about eating and maybe getting an early kip if we're up in the morning?
Yeah.
That sounds good. Let's get back.
To the Stinky Fish.
It's this one.
I'm sure it's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, so as you get closer to the pier, there is a small tavern slash restaurant ish next to the pier. So the stench of fish is just everywhere. Some good, some bad, some like salted in the air that you can smell wafting about when you pass by. There is outdoor seating and indoor seating, but it's pretty laissez-faire to where people of all kinds come and eat here. There's no classism or preferences of who could or could not be here.
This is the most people I've been around in ages. Not used to cities. Shall we?
Yeah, go on. After you.
All right. As you head in, again, it's that strong scent of smoked fish being cooked over a fire, and you can hear it sizzling and crackling behind the cook.
Does it smell good?
It smells good inside, yes. There's a lot less patrons in this one, so there's a lot more room for you to move about, converse in any detail you'd like to. There is a waiter-ish kind of person that's taking care of the tables and removing the cups and plates as he takes it into the back.
Excuse me.
Oh, yes.
We'd like to dine here. We're a part of the adventurers heading west tomorrow. Have you got food available and any high chairs at all?
A high chair. I could take a look
So
about.
I can reach the table.
But yeah, go and have a seat over there. We're getting ready to serve dinner, if you like. You said your adventurer's heading west. Did you have reservations already?
Yeah, Mr. the Third has booked us a room, I think.
Oh, that's shite. Yeah, okay. Go and have a seat over there, and he gestures at the large round table at the bottom. And he goes and rummages. I'm gonna make a roll to see if he finds you a high chair.
Fingers crossed.
Oh, I did it wrong. Natural 20. He finds you a high chair.
Oh yes.
Perfect for a large child or a gnome.
Yeah, she'll like shimmy up to the table in the high chair so that she can at least reach the table itself. That's a bit better than the pub. More on your level. Sorry about that.
Right. So yeah, he goes back to the cook and he starts bringing out breads. He's got a stew that they've been making, and then there's like a platter of fried fish as well that's been heavily smoked. Enjoy your meal.
Thank you very much.
It's already been on the house, so if you want seconds, let me know and I'll bring it right out.
Amazing, thank you.
Looks very nice.
I wonder if these guys will know much about the previous adventurers that were here. They might have stayed here too. The ones we're looking out for when we go west.
It does sound a bit worrying about what may have happened to them.
Yeah, that guy saying that the gems and stuff were coming from the west and then they haven't come for a while. I hope we aren't going anywhere unpleasant.
I think he was pretty clear about the dangers.
Yeah, we wouldn't be getting paid this much if it was sunshines and rainbows and cuddly mushrooms, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is true. Is there like is there a town there already then? Or a mine? Or thank you. Or a mine or something? What?
I think there's something there, but a camp maybe. Like,
I assume there'd be a mine if those gems come back. Or at least some sort of outpost. I mean,
so just be right back, guys. I'm just gonna do something.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think as we're tucking through dinner, general conversation will be along the lines of, ooh, I wonder what we'll expect. Blah-de-blah.
La di blah.
Bad, bad.
Do the staff here know anything about past versions west?
Yeah, can we ask them?
Yeah. Gesture to the waiter.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, yes. What can I help you with?
So the
You know anything about...
you go, Sally.
There you go.
So we're heading west. Do you know anything of the past expeditions that way?
Unfortunately, no. I don't know a whole lot. I do know, Mr. the Third, as you called him. He owes quite a bit of money to some people, so I'm not sure, what he's paying you, but it's probably not enough.
Well, he said that we can basically take any land and stuff that we see over there, didn't he?
If it's worth having.
Was in a contract.
So, at worst, start a little small holding or something. You know, could be worse. He's not paying us enough.
I
Oh.
don't mind finding a new forest, or even if it's just a little wood, to be honest.
And unfortunately, I don't know if I'm getting paid. I was given an IOU on the honor of Orums by the lofty bit, but yeah, he's quite a bit in the trouble with his the larger part of his family, as far as I know.
Quite eccentric. So yeah, has he always been that way?
He, in particular, yes, has always been that way. The rest of the family is a little more cordial and humble, I would say. They made a fortune off their products they've been making. They had this way of turning gold into this threaded lace, which they would inlay into all their clothing. And of course, all the royals and all the highborns just couldn't get enough of it, and that's where they made their money. And the Third, as you like to call him, he's a bit of a rich boy, and he's never worked a hard day in his life. He funded the original expedition to head out. For a while, he was kind of turning a profit, but with its loss, he took a massive debt. Some say he borrowed some money in some unruly places, so I wouldn't know what to make do with all of that.
What's his business out west then, if they're to clothe gold?
Well, you see, his family got a little miffed about his freelance spending, so he found that the jewels that were coming out of there and the gems and possibly a mine out there, he was hoping to repay his family and find the honor amongst the Orums, they say.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we're looking for a mine then.
Yeah. Well, if you don't think you're going to get paid for this, how much would the room and the food have cost us?
Oh, out here, it's about 10 copper a person.
Right,
A lot.
I'll put 10 copper on the table.
He kind of gives you an eye.
Yes, yes, and then also grab 10 copper from the pouch.
Oh, thank you, appreciate it.
10 copper from me.
But I would definitely second guess the Third, because well, he looks mine pretty up front, but who knows what kind of dealings he has in the background. Just some friendly advice.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
Did you speak and see the previous people that went out before us at all? What were they like?
A lot of them were just some locals, miners, craftsmen. They were trying to set up a city out there, some kind of encampment. But lost all contact. No one knows what happened.
Yeah, we keep hearing that. Okay. Thank you very much for your information. That's muchly appreciated.
Aye. And he kind of gives you a gracious wink and walks away. And he goes over to the cook, and he kind of just whispers to him, And then like he looks down at the money you just gave him. He looks back up to you guys, and he's kind of flustered and he's rummaging around. And he comes out with a bottle. Please, please, thank you. It's on the house, and he gives you out a bottle of brandy.
Thank you.
It's very kind.
If there's any other betting or requests for the day, please let me know. Please let me know. Thank you.
What kind of time is it now?
The sun is starting to set. The
Nice.
the lantern lighters are out and about, starting to light up the city. If you want to actually see what that looks like.
That's cool.
It's
I'm back. Sorry,
pretty
back by the
nice.
way. Sorry, I had to.
No worries.
Ooh, that looks pretty.
Yeah, so while you were out, they were talking to the waiter at the bar, who discussed a little bit of background on Orem and their family. Basically revealed that Orem the Third has kind of been the black sheep of the family in the idea of the amount of money he was making, and he was definitely spending more than he knew he had. To where when this last encampment was lost, he started going into depth where he was starting to take on some massive loans from seedy locations. The rest of the party, talking to the guy who was apprehensive and wasn't sure he was going to actually get paid by Orem and was more of an IOU, the three of them shelled out 10 copper for the rooms and the food and everything. And the cook, excited, came out and gave you a bottle of brandy to share as gratitude.
Well, Avalon will pour out 4 shot glasses or whatever we've got available. Cheers to a hopefully new life and new adventure. Hey, should put a
Yeah.
little. Cheers.
Yeah, as you drink it down, it is god awful, but very alcoholic. Strong but sour.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And as you look at the cork, it's got a little bit of mold on the inside, but nothing that would make you sick.
Are we confident there's sufficient alcohol content in it to kill off anything that would?
Well, that might make a better Molotov than a toast, but cheers.
All right, and the sun is starting to set. It's nearing midnight.
I might see if I can find the ship we're going on, and this stuff I bought is really heavy and I'm struggling with it, so I might dump it on there now. See if I can put it on the ship. Would anyone mind to help me carry it? I'm
Well,
a
give me-
lit.
Just give it
I'm a-
me. Like I can carry a lot. Night
It's-
tomorrow, take in the morning, then we can have a good night's rest. But
Okay.
if you want to check out, that's up to you.
Oh no, that's really kind actually. Yeah, it's mainly this rope, and then she kind of like out of her small bag pull out. Didn't realise I already had ropes. Now 100 foot of hemp rope.
Hey, you never know when you need rope.
No, and when you need it, you really need it. So,
Yeah, this lot, and to be honest, these rations weigh quite a bit as well. If you wouldn't mind, I'm not the strongest.
How many rations is that then?
14.
14. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, chuck that in your inventory. I'll take it out of my own. Thank you.
All right, were you calling it a night, or you're gonna head out?
I was calling it a night.
I was going to call it night as well.
All right. I don't think your spells cost anything, but basically a long rest.
Cool.
Cast anything yet, but cool. Yeah.
See.
All right. You awake to the sounds of seagulls having a ball as the fresh morning catch has started to go out. Your accommodations were a little rugged, but it was a bed on wood. Not the greatest, but not the worst. It had a roof, and you were kept out of the elements.
Seen worse.
Be a better night's sleep than we'll have on boats. So, get up. Do we go grab breakfast, guys, or should we shoot up to the boat?
It's like, yeah, I think we should have breakfast. Did he say what time we were supposed to leave?
It was at dawn, right?
Is it dawn now? Looking out the window, be able to see. So.
Yeah, the sun's hitting the crest over the horizon.
We don't want to miss it.
Grab a piece of fruit from the table and then I think we should go.
I'll grab that wheel of cheese. That's on the table. And
Like
I'll leave it.
Skyrim.
Yeah.
Is that a whole roast pig on the side? And
Yeah, with a cleaver. Yeah, the cook sees you as you get up and head out. He kind of waves you off, wishing you good luck.
Thank you. Good luck to you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. As you head out, there is a gruff-looking man sitting outside across the way on a bench, looking at looking at the sun, looking back at the ocean, looking at the door as you all approach and come out.
Right, to the ship then.
well met.
Are you the ones I'm taking off?
Of what?
Are you the captain?
I'm Captain Raddick.
Yes.
All right, let's away. We're going to go to the Grand Duchess. And he kind of leads you over to the wharf as he passes over very glamorous ships getting ready to head off to go fishing, and the ones being prepped up to head off on the adventure after you. And one by one, he passes the very larger ships until he gets to this very small, rinkety one. It looks like it's run by like 3 people. It is this one.
Is it that one? Pointing to the big ships. That one?
No. That's Orem's ships. Over here. And he walks you over to this makeshift little thing. It's got a lot of patches on the side. This is the Grand Duchess. We'll be heading out as soon as you're all ready.
Do you mean to cross the Trackless Sea in that?
Of-
I'm no expert on ships, but that looks quite. I don't mean to offend you, but quite.
Well, of course we plan to go. That's what we're being paid for.
Sometimes the smaller ships are much faster. Because obviously they weigh less.
More my size.
Yeah, we'll be heading out as soon as you're ready. With us, we have Mr. Foster. He's our shipwright, so if there's any issues, damages, repairs that need to be done, he's the one that will be doing them. He's also our cook. He's not the greatest, but he does serve a good fish stew. And then there's Sigourney. Steer clear of her. It's best not to make eye contact. And she's basically my first mate, and we plan to sail all day, all night, so she and I will be taking shifts.
Okay.
How do sail ships? I've got experience, so if it makes it easier on you, I can take a shift now and again.
May. As long as nothing happens out at sea, we should be good. All right, all aboard when you're ready.
Ready?
Walk down the.
Okay, ready.
All right. And he starts yelling out commands like, "Drop sails!" And he kind of looks at the 2 with experience that volunteered this information. And he's kind of gesturing to the points where you unrope the sails to drop them.
I'm going to do that then.
All right. As you unfurl the sails, you start to hit water. And you sail away from Baldur's Gate. So this is what the ship actually looks like.
Oh, that's
Go
good.
dramatically.
So is there like a compartments bit underneath as well?
There is. There's cruise quarters down below. I'll give you the tour as soon as I get all the people loaded on here.
2 seconds to grab a drink.
All right.
Okay.
And Lear.
Back.
All right. So the ship has a crow's nest up top. Not really a closed-off captain's quarters, but there is a planning desk underneath the steering. Crawling below deck. Let's get down there. There's a small cooking area with the crew's quarters right behind it, where Sigourney is currently sleeping.
Also,
Not a whole lot, but it's enough to get you where you're going.
Cool.
I asked the captain, how long do you think it will take us to get there? What the wind's like?
It's good weather today, so we're expecting at least a week and a half, if not 2 weeks, weather permitting.
Am I able to look up there? She'll point at the crow's nest.
Oh, yes, go ahead, go ahead. Actually, we do need some assistance in this travel, so Mr. Foster's over there, and he points to this kind of frail-looking man, somewhat elderly, but very muscular built. Like he's been doing this for a long time, where his forearms are jacked, to where he's been doing nothing but repairing this ship. And then, like I said, Sigourney's down below taking a rest. Best not to bother her until she's drunk or something. I'm not entirely sure. She's not friendly to new faces, I would say. But yes, if someone wanted to stay on this level on the deck and help steer the boat and cast the sails and pull them when we need to, someone can go up the crow's nest and someone can actually go down and help Mr. Foster.
I'll help with the sailing.
Okay.
I suppose I could help, Mr.
I can go down below.
I'll take the crow's nest then. Okay.
Okay.
Can we still see land if we look back behind us in the distance?
Yep.
Sort of go and look back at the diminishing land mass behind me, thinking to myself, it might be some time before we see it again.
Yeah, you're catching very good speed on where you're going. Being that, like you said earlier, the smaller ship moves faster, so... Alright, down with Mr. Foster. Alright. So you sail off for a few days. No damages to the ship, and you're able to maintain the sails as needed. The weather is calm, smooth. But down below, we're going to join... Oh, the name Zilzina. And Mr. Foster. Mr. Foster is a very meek-spoken person. He's got a bit of a stammer. But when he needs to, he's able to get his words out. And he just needs a little bit of help preparing meals and getting food ready. Hello. I didn't get quite your name.
My name's Silcina.
Do you know how to cook?
A little bit.
Right. Could you grab the fish over there and start chopping off their heads?
Sure.
All right.
Grab the fish and take it to your desk. Help away.
Can I get a sleight of hand check?
Ooh.
find it actually pretty good. Natural 20 to
Okay.
24.
Yeah, you're like a master chef down there, as the conveyance of you're kind of good comes off as modesty to as you're just like slipping through, cutting off all the meat, chopping off the heads, and you're savoring every last bit of the fish itself. And Mr. Foster's kind of enamored at you and your knife skills. Right. And he kind of like loses a little confidence in his own abilities to cook. All right.
I really calm down my cooking skills.
Up top, Avalon, can I get a perception check?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, I think you made you too high up there. There we go.
That is a 14 total.
Okay. Looking around, just in the 360 around you, in the far, far distance, just above the horizon, you do see the 3 ships that were to follow you. As you're way so far ahead,
Are
You
they
clear-
a couple of days behind then? Or
yeah, they're a couple days, but you can see them as a glimpse. No fog setting in. Actually, let me fix that. There's no fog. Get that fog out of here.
Cool. How like seasick? I've never been at sea. Would I be vomiting everywhere, or is it quite calm?
Right now it is quite calm. You got a good speed going on. There's not that many rough waters. You hadn't fully hit the full ocean, the depths of the ocean. That's still several days away, but you just come across the coast. I think it's called Moonshire. You're getting ready to pass through.
Cool. Yeah, should just be hanging out up there then, keeping a lookout, enjoying the fresh air.
The air is getting a little salty, and you still see a few seagulls floating around. But in the horizon, you don't see anything coming towards you. No storms. It's all blue skies. For Emmerich and Lear on the deck, can I get a strength check from both of you?
Yeah, okay. Just a straight strength check.
Strength
Cool.
check, yep.
16.
Lear's doing fine.
Ooh, better than expected. So even with my -1, I got 12.
Actually, Lear, did you have a sailor's background?
Yes.
You get advantage on this if you want it.
Right. So that is 20.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you're doing great. Like you've taken ownership of every order the captain puts out. You have done this flawlessly as you've done so many times before. And it being a smaller ship, you like it to where you can reach things quicker without having to rely on other people to get in your way or to assist you, essentially.
Awesome.
For Emmerich, what'd you get?
12.
12. You're able to keep up, but it's your shoulders are getting a little sore after the repetitive pulling of the rope to put the sail up, put it down. You kind of fumble a few times when the captain gives a few orders, and you're like, "What was that? What did he say?" I'm not really sure what that meant. But a few more days go by, and not a whole lot goes on. It's been about a week now as you've been sailing along. And you're now getting close to the deeper waters where, looking around, the seagulls have stopped following, and the fog starts to set in a lot more often. And looking around, you can no longer see the 3 ships behind you as large as they were. They're keeping a lot more distance at this point. Let's bring that fog in a little bit. Avalon, can I get one more perception check?
Yes. Perception. Ooh. 9.
Alright.
Total.
As you look off around the distance, again, you can't see the ships following, but you do see dark clouds to the west and the south. I guess I would say southwest.
I think she'll look round for any of the seagulls. If you guys have noticed before, she was kind of occasionally seemed to be talking to them. But as there's none around, she's a bit like, oh, okay. And then she'll shout down, "Is that a problem over there?" Pointing towards the...
As you point this out, the captain, He looks over. It's like, oh shite, we got a storm coming.
Should I come down?
Yes, yes, get down now.
Okay.
And from down below, Zilzina, you hear the captain shouting, "Storm coming! Everyone get ready!"
Storm coming.
What do I do?
Pull up the sails.
Where did you go? There we go. Yeah, as you rush down the ladder, the captain is spouting out, "Pull the sails, quick!" Who's all helping?
Me.
Yeah, I'm helping. Yeah.
Okay. Zilzina?
Yeah.
All right.
Helping.
Lear and Zilzina, I believe, have advantage.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, roll a dex check.
Is that everyone helping or everyone?
Everyone helping.
I think however long.
And that is T20.
17.
Perfect. Yeah, you're able to get the sails up just in time as the rain starts to hit.
Nice.
And I want strong winds. That way. All right, the boat is starting to rock, and it's jostling around quite a bit. Those without sea legs, give me a con check, please.
Just a Constitution check or con save.
Con save.
Okay, 19 too, or actually 20.
Ooh, 8.
19, you're fine. You're getting a little nauseous, but you're able to stave everything off. Emmerich, you're having a rough time. The swishing and wobbling of the boat, you're not keeping your balance at best. You're getting a little nauseous, but you're not ready to pop yet.
Can I tie a rope to the main sail and then around my waist? So if I get thrown overboard, I can climb up the rope.
Yes. Can I get a sleight of hand check?
Yes. Is that with advantage or not?
Yes. If you're doing a sailor's knot.
Yeah. That is 19.
19. You are very secure. You got it around your waist. You're latched on. Are you doing like with some slack, so you're able to move around still? Okay.
Yeah, so basically like
Like a lifeline.
yeah, so I can still go and do shit on the boat if need be.
Okay. Yeah, you get a very secure lifeline around you, and you're able to move around if you need to. The captain shouts out, "What in great God is that?" And he's leaning towards the south.
So then
Oh dear.
Oh, where is it?
bears! There's 17 bears!
It's the chicken I'm worried about.
What we got on there?
Oh.
He points out a massive serpent in the water. Several, very, very far, but huge from your distance. You see it splashing around and coming up from the surface of the water and arching through.
Is it heading in our direction?
It is not. It's actually going that way, towards the east.
So towards the other ships.
In that direction, yes. As it arches and it splashes down, the captain screams out, "Hold on!" as a sudden wave starts building up and rushes towards the ship.
Hold on.
Alright, everyone, can I get a strength check? Lear has advantage because he has the lifeline.
Okay.
Got 11.
17.
Oh, that's a 2.
That's a 2.
22.
All right. Yeah, Avalon, you're getting tossed to slam to the side of the boat. As the wave crashes in, it flings you back as you slam into the wooden side, and you're gonna take some damage.
I don't like this.
Oh, 1d6. You get a full 6 bludgeoning damage as you slam into the side.
Ouch.
I am very heavily injured.
Oh, should we not get below?
We gotta get below if you feel safe. Actually, one of you head down and see Mr. Foster. Make sure we're not taking water.
Let's go down.
All right. You see Mr. Foster running around frantically. There's a little bit of water, but he's looking for his tools.
Where did you put them? I'll help him look.
All right. Can you get an investigation check?
That's a natural 20.
Jeez. All right. Yeah. After a few seconds of rummaging, you find some his carpenter's kit basically, and he looks to you. Oh, thank you. This way.
I follow him quickly.
Yeah, he rushes into the crew's quarters. Inside, you see this high elf asleep on the cot, paying no attention, unbothered by everything, smelling heavily of brandy. But he rushes over to where there's spewing water coming from the deck, and he starts hammering away. Can I get a sleight of hand with advantage as you're helping him?
That is a 15.
Yeah, you're able to secure the wood very quickly with his assistance, him being a near master carpenter after years and years of doing this. He pops on the wood, slams down 2 nails with 1 strike each. All right. We just got to be on watch in case anything else happens. And you notice his stammer is gone when he's in the mode.
Okay.
When he rushes up front, he starts looking for buckets to start pulling away this water it's starting to pool in.
Just with that.
All right, up top, the captain's shouting out, "We need to drop sails! We need to get out of here, fast! Damn the storm or damn the serpent!"
Okay. So I'll help him release the sails.
All right. No check on this one. You're able to drop the sails very easily, and you start picking up a lot of speed in this storm. Can I get a perception check?
Everyone.
Everyone up top.
Oops, I just rolled performance. That was a mistake. So I will roll perception
Dance
instead.
for us.
So it's 4 perception.
As my interpretive dance. Uh,
Pretty much the same thing.
Avalon, you see this as in the horizon where you were seeing the ships, you see the serpent going after one of them.
Oh no! And then she's pointing in that direction. The sea monster! The ships!
As you see the sea monster go to the farthest ship, crashing down up upon it, causing another wave to brush through. It's rippling through the waters. It's still a little bit of ways, so you have some time.
Avalon
Chuck a rope.
cannot. Yeah, she can't take another hit like that. She's gonna call to her nature, and cast Entangle on the deck of the ship.
Okay?
And as she does, these vines come kind of spurting out of the ship, and for people that want to save, it's a strength 13 dex save, 13 strength save, but she's going to fail it on purpose. So these they kind of entangle and bind her to the ship, so she can't be moved around.
Then really, it's only affecting Emmerich, I think.
Ooh, I will accept it, yeah, and be bound to the deck as well.
All right, yeah. The vines come out and entangle you, securing you to the stairs and the mast.
That's cool.
Can I chuck rope to the captain to tie himself up?
All right, he takes it, and you see him frantically making several circles around his waist as he ties himself to the steering wheel. Hang on, it's coming! Zilcina, you hear this from down below as well. Mr. Foster, his eyes widen, and he starts fashioning rope, tying himself down as well.
Yeah, I get some rope and fasten myself to wherever I can.
He kind of shouts back to the crew's quarters, "Good luck, Sigourney! Nice knowing ya!" And he slams the door. He actually picks the supports underneath and suggests you do the same. For Zilcina, can I get a sleight of hand check, please?
Come on. That is a 23.
23, yeah, you're able to fashion pretty tightly. You're both in place as the wave starts crashing through, upheaving a large portion of the boat. But you're all very secure. No damage. As water splashes everywhere. Salt water in your mouths. It's drenching you all over, basically. With the sails down, you are catching a lot of speed where you can't see any of the boats anymore, as they've been kind of entangled in this storm. And last you saw, one of the boats went down. As you speed through the night, the rain starts to finally let up, and you no longer see the serpent itself. And you make your way with very little damage to the sails itself. The captain looks around one last time. All right, all clear! All clear!
I think the vines only lasted a minute, so they will have kind of fallen back into and disappeared to
Okay.
the deck after the wave.
And the rain at this time starts to let up.
Is everyone okay?
Better for being out of that storm.
I'm gonna go downstairs. I don't feel well.
Need a nap.
All right. Avalon heads downstairs. And unless you all want to do anything specific, it would just be another day passing.
No, I think I'm going to go rest as well.
All right. I'll get you all a long rest.
Bandage up my bruises. I was pretty heavily hurt hitting the side of the deck.
What's your max HP?
7.
Ooh.
Mine's only 8. It's not. Yeah.
My one
Lev-
is 8
Level
as
1
well.
characters, man. They're just like let's.
Go on.
So actually, she'll probably. I don't know if anyone's down there, but she'll probably she'll cast Good Berry, and she'll create some little berries. They look like I don't know, raspberries, into her hands, and then she'll slowly nom down on them, and you can see her injuries healing as she does it.
Yeah, as you head to the crew's quarters and lay down, nibbling on your berries, the high elf that was in a drunken stupor, unbothered by everything, gets up lightning quick and just heads off without any concern about what was going on.
Oh, hi. Oh.
All right, it is now officially the night shift. Sigourney kind of ignores everyone and just goes straight to her post, gives a nod to the captain, and he as he's untying himself, he just lets her take position behind the wheel, and he comes down and sits with you all. Well, looks like it was a fun trip. How-
So, something.
How are you all faring?
I'm right.
I don't like it so much. I prefer to be on land.
I have to say, it's not like I feel out of my element too. But have you ever seen a creature like that before?
Aye, that be the Leviathan. It's not the greatest creatures to be stumbling upon the ocean, but luckily it didn't do anything to us.
It looked like it did stuff to the ships behind, though.
Oh, God save their souls. There's no coming back from that.
Do you think the other two got away?
Well, we'll know in the morning. We'll take a look. We may slow down a little bit for them, but I don't expect much from them.
Oh, God. How long till we get there now? soon, hopefully.
Well, if we slow down to see if any ships arrive, we probably got about 5 more days left before we see shore.
Well, to be honest, I don't think we could do much even if they aren't coming. Is there a point slowing down?
I guess there's not. Other than Orem the Third gave me this firework, we need to make sure they're within sight. If we set it off, that means we're clear, and we've reached our destination. The shore's safe, basically. And he hands it over to Lear. He hands you a small ball with wax, with clearly it has gunpowder on the inside and a large wick sticking out from the side of it. When you get to the beach, just set this off, and the ships know where to land, basically. But if it's all right with you, I'm gonna take my shift in the bunk. I'm gonna sleep off the night. I recommend you all do so as well.
Yeah. I might stay awake a little bit to see if Sigourney wants to handle anything.
Okay. Yeah, Sigourney doesn't really bellow out orders like anyone else. For the most part, she just wait, because Foster sits up there with her as well. Where'd he go? Where's Foster? There's Foster. And you see Foster and Sigourney kind of up both at the wheel, getting a little close and cuddly with each other. Almost like the Titanic going on, where he's behind her as she's steering the wheel. He's hugging her very clearly. She is not hugging him.
Putting up with it.
All right. For now, it's just a smooth sailing night. And did you want to do anything?
I think Albion will be Avalon will be wanting to go straight to bed. I think.
All right.
She will offer there's like 4 remaining good berries. She'll offer them to anyone who would like to try them.
I take one and nibble it, and then you do.
Hopefully it tastes good. It should nourish you for at least a day. I've lived off these for weeks at a time when I was in the forest. Anyway, I'm going to take some rest. The other 3, feel free to have those too. Good night, everyone.
All right. As you go off to have your long rest for the night, we're going to take a 5-minute break.
I'm going to grab a drink.
I picked soda tonight, and that was probably the worst thing for my throat.
That little rat noises in the background.
What?
Squeaking.
That's the sound effects of the Tailspire, I believe. The creaking
Yeah,
of the boat.
I didn't think there'd been rats bit like on the mic. Yeah.
You said rats?
Yeah, that little squeaky noises.
That one I don't know about. I'm not hearing squeaking.
Come back.
Actually, I should probably change that sound too because I don't need that. Let's see this. There we go. That's a better sound.
Yep.
Should I do a long rest or should I wait?
No, you can do a long rest. You also did your good berries.
Yeah.
Back.
All right, everyone's back. All right. 3 more days have passed. You see a land mass in the far distance, but you still have about 2 days left to travel to get there. Can I get a perception check from everyone?
Sure.
Is that about the land and stuff?
No.
Okay.
It's 13.
20 for me.
10 for me.
15.
All right. By this time, the captain has come back. 13 and up. Looking around, the captain, as he said he would slow down a little bit, and you do see 2 remaining ships on the horizon, back in the distance where the sun is setting, or the sun is rising. Sorry.
At least a couple of ships look like they've made it.
Yeah, good thing. But Dad got those people on the 3rd ship.
Aye, when we reach shore, we'll set a little monument for their sacrifice if we need to.
Does that Leviathan thing, does it attack many ships? Have you seen it before then?
I've only seen it a few times myself. It's usually steer clear of us, so I'm not entirely sure what it was after. But I'm glad we made it through. It must have not seen us as a threat, being so tiny, eh?
Sometimes being little is good.
He gives you a wink. And he points out, but if you look over there, and he points to the west, that seems to be the land we're heading for. It's probably a few more days before we reach it, but if you look around, I think the seagulls are excited for us to show up.
Is there a bay
No.
or port you're heading for?
Not an established one. Orem gave me a tiny little map, if you want to see here. And he hands you out this little parchment, which is half stained with wine and lipstick. Very uninformative about anything that he showed you, but let me see if I can grab a snippet of it. But where he has written out, there is a coastline where it has this coral inlet where you can get smaller boats into and hit the sand. That's basically where you're heading to. Once you hit the sandy shore, several feet inward, there's a small jungle that starts to form. And then the surrounding area is mostly sand in itself.
Can I use my navigation tools to make sure that we are going near there? And we're not off course or anything.
Yeah, give me a history check with advantage.
That is a 7.
With advantage, it was a 7.
Yeah, I've got -1. And 4.
Oh dear.
All right. Yeah. As you look at the rudimentary map, and during the day there's no stars out. You kind of look at the sun. You look down at the map. You look at the sun. You use your devices, and as far as you glean, you get a little bit of sunspot, but you think you're going in the right direction.
Okay. Guys, we're going in the right direction. We are on course. Rest assured.
That's so reassuring. But you look like a man who knows what they're about.
That's why I've got all these little tools, you see. When you're on the sea, you need to know what you're doing.
All right. Well, we got a few days, and we're getting low on supplies. So if anyone wants to do some fishing, someone again help Mr. Foster down below, and then we're just gonna tidy up here for those remaining.
I go back down for Mr. Foster.
Okay.
Your cooking was excellent before. I'd love some food from you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to look at my fishing tackle, and then I'm going to look at my grappling hook, and back at my fishing tackle, the grappling hook, and then go to Captain, which one should I use?
Well, you look like a strong fellow, so the grappling hook.
Down, I'll use the grappling hook.
I'll head back up, and she points to the crow's nest.
Okay. And at this time, there are several seagulls perched up above, just riding along.
She'll probably ritual cast speak with animals while she's up there then, and try and speak to the seagulls. I can't imagine they're too intelligent.
All right. Emmerich, what are you doing?
I'm just on the main deck, trying to be helpful, so just trying to stay away from it as much as possible while looking out over the horizon of the approaching landmass.
Okay. All right. First, Lear, can I get a survival check?
Yes. That is a dirty 20.
Oh, yeah. You throw your grappling hooks into the dark depths of the waters, and you immediately feel a tug. You've got something big. It's struggling quite a bit, but with your strength, you're able to start pulling in slowly as it jerks away from you, and you kind of lunge towards the front. Emmerich, you see him having a little bit of trouble.
Can I rage at that point?
Yes, you can rage.
Damn this fish.
I go and try and help him and try and assist him pulling up whatever it is he's captured.
All right, are you standing behind him, or are you trying to be beside him while he's raging?
I'm going to be beside him just in case there's something he can see coming up and I can help pull the rope.
Okay. Lear, you're raging. You start pulling on this rope. Can I get a strength check?
That's a 19.
Yeah, you start reeling it in. At first, it was giving you quite a resistance, but now you're just manhandling this fish as you just one hand over the other, pulling the rope up, and you see coming up a giant tuna.
Nice.
And Emmerich sees it, and it's just this massive fish. Roughly, I actually don't have a figure for a giant fish. Let me see what I got. I got a shark.
Can I mind sliver it? It's an attack.
That's a wisdom check, right?
Yeah, it is an intelligence check. DC 13.
All right.
Now it's to find a stat block for a tuna.
Yeah.
No, I already got something pulled up. It got a 10.
Okay, it takes 1d6 damage and takes 1d4 off its next saving throw.
Okay. What's its damage?
6.
Oh yeah, you you give this tuna a psychotic breakdown as it stops struggling and goes limp. As Lear is able to draw it back up. And the captain, very impressed of the catch you just had, as Lyra just throws it over its shoulder, triumphantly destroying this fish and drenching it out of the water.
Amazing.
Wow.
I think that'll do for tea, won't it?
And dinner and breakfast next morning and for a few days to come.
Yeah, there's probably enough here to make some extra rations for when we hit land.
All right.
Nice catch.
Avalon, up here, what are you doing with the birds?
We're chatting. Hey, seagulls. So, any nice forests? Have you seen a town? Yeah, are we? You know the coast?
Coast? Coast?
Yeah. Buildings. People.
It's a little confused on those concepts.
Other people like me.
Me.
Trees. Trees?
Trees. And it's getting excited as it says trees.
Oh, trees. There's trees. Excellent. Boats. And I'll point and gesture to this. Boats, and then point over at the coast.
Which coast?
Yeah.
The behind you or in front of you?
In front of us. Coast. Boats.
It kind of turns its head. Boats?
I knew I wasn't gonna get much. And then sand?
It's excited again. Sand.
Okay, we got sand and we got trees. Rocks. Stones.
Rocks. And it's still excited as it's hopping around.
What else could there be that a bird like you would know about? Chips. Is there chips?
What? It's not as excited anymore. Chips.
Food.
It's really excited now, looking at you. Food. As the mention of this, more seagulls actually start to approach. Food.
I get out one of my rations and start breaking it into small pieces.
Can I get a dex check?
Yeah.
They're ready to saving. Yeah, they're gonna snatch it from you.
Oh shit. 8 total.
Yeah, they get it away from you, and they start like fighting amongst themselves with it as they started to scurry off and fly away. Food.
I think that's the most I was gonna get. Cool. Thank you. I shout down to the.
Sand.
Yeah. I think we're expecting trees, sand, and rocks, guys. At the shore.
Wow. Thank you for that information. I wouldn't have gathered that.
Oh, you're welcome.
The captain's visibly just disappointed. Hey, big guy, Lear. Why don't you take that down to the galley and have Mr. Foster cook us something special today?
Yeah, so we'll do.
All right. You take it downstairs. It kind of gets stuck on the port, but you're able to wedge it through. Mr. Foster is kind of shocked as you toss this, and it just thumps on the ground in front of him. What's that?
Fish.
I see. He kind of sighs. He's now kind of looking towards Zilcina, knowing that she's just the expert gourmet with a knife. He gestures towards you, towards the fish.
I do it.
All right, can I get a sleight of hand, please?
It's a 19.
Yeah, you're able to still maintain that consistency and the skill with the knife as you slice through, taking a great deal of the generous meats of the fish itself. Large white cuts of fish. Actually, it's tuna. Large red cuts of fish. As you lay it out on the table, ready to. Actually, your choice. What do you want to do with it? Do you want to fry it, stew it, smoke it?
I'm going to fry it and do the tuna steak.
Okay. Yeah, these slabs are massive. You were able to get, I would say at least 6 or 7 large servings of tuna steak.
With some flavoring.
Say that again?
I add some flavoring on top. Give it some flavor.
Okay. Emmerich, are you doing anything hanging out at top as they're all downstairs?
I'm actually just quite glad to just have some space to myself up the deck. So I'm just going to probably go up to the forecastle. Is that what the top is? Thing on the top is?
The crow's nest?
Actually, yeah. Let's go up the crow's nest. Yeah.
All right, you join Avalon up there.
Oh, hey. Nice up here.
It is.
But as you're up here, you can look around and just see sea all around. A few of the seagulls fighting for rations flying off in the distance. But you do see the shoreline headed to the west. It's
Anything out of it yet?
it's a bright white color of sand, kind of reflecting on the horizon itself. You don't see any greens, but just that clear, crisp white.
Good to see the land, eh?
Between you and me, I'm not cut out for this sea life.
I get that. I feel less sick up here though. Fresh air.
Yeah. I see you made some little friends. Glancing at the seagulls.
They're kind of circling the boat now. But you hear them still yelling, food, 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 food.
I think I made the mistake of feeding them. Now they just shouting for food.
All right. At this time, you catch on the wind. Actually, both of you can I get a perception check, passive perception. What are they actually?
13 is my passive.
11 is my passive perception.
Yeah, go ahead and roll for a perception check.
Right, okay. So,
Give you a chance.
Is that both of us?
Yes.
14.
Oh dear. 8.
Okay.
Too busy talking.
Yeah. Emmerich, you're able to. You catch the scent of flavored fried fish on the air.
Something smells nice. Can you smell that? It smells like
I like the sea air. Yeah, great. Nice and fresh.
something cooking. Fish, maybe. Maybe somebody's making dinner. What time is it anyway? Is it
It would just be past noon at the moment, so it'd be your lunch.
maybe some lunch?
I could go for lunch. Should we see?
Should we see? Yeah. Does somebody have to stay up here, or can we just go down?
I don't. Well, I just like hanging out up here. I don't think I have to stay.
Oh, so you've just been doing. Okay. I thought you were supposed to be doing it.
I feel really sick when I'm on the deck. Down below's not so bad, but up here's where I feel least sick.
2 weeks fasting. I didn't realise that was an option. Okay. Anyway, well, let's go down and see if we can find some lunch.
All right. As you head down, you see Mr. Foster and everyone else starting to set up at the table. Large place settings at the table underneath the captain's area.
Lunchtime, is it?
this.
You gotta take them up through the hole.
That's the only thing about this. If you don't make them a unique piece, you actually have to make them fit through doors.
Wow. Okay.
And I've lost many of minis in mountainscapes because I lost where I put them.
No, they're just somewhere inside.
Yeah, I'm never gonna find them. There we go. Yeah, so Mr. Foster and Zilcina carrying the freshly cooked and seasoned fish upon the table, and they're large quantities for Avalon. I would say it's about a foot of meat in lengthwise.
Oh wow, okay. I'm gonna pronounce this one. Selena? Is this you again?
Yes.
Selena? That looks fantastic. I really like it. I'm sorry if I can't finish it all.
Try your best. And don't worry about it.
And yeah, she'll tuck in.
As do I.
Yeah, it's really good based off of the food you were eating and the rations every here and there, and the fish that you were catching. This is quite the feast, very tasty, especially with the added seasoning that Zilcina put on it. And it's a good meal to start the day and continue on to the coast. All right.
I've still got a bit of this wine left as well. It goes well with fish, I think. Anyone?
Which wine?
Sure.
Last. Is enough?
Might be our last meal before land.
Yeah.
Is that the nasty wine?
No, this is the nice stuff.
Oh, the apple
Yeah,
wine.
the apple one. Yeah.
And you still have that cake as well.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Been about 2 weeks.
All right.
We'll go for the wine and the fish.
As you enjoy dining, the weather is clear and you have smooth sailing for the next day and a half as you getting to approach the shore.
Wow.
And
This software is bloody amazing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah, I think it's really impressive.
And the trick is, I built none of this. Other people have, and I downloaded it and threw it right into the game.
Wow, okay.
Nice.
You can share maps.
Yeah, you can get like official modules and stuff like that, can't you? Like,
Yes, so the version I have is modded specifically. I'm part of the modding community of it. That's the ones that figured out how to import STLs and Hero Forge figures.
yeah,
His-
they're going to implement that, aren't they, further on or something?
Yeah, when it goes official, it's the system they called Tailweaver. They do have a contract or working on a contract with Hero Forge to do straight implementations. All right.
I'm
Oh,
almost tempted
let's.
to just buy it, to just muck around with it, to be honest.
Someone actually went through and made the entire Castle of Strahd or Curse of Strahd maps.
Brill, well done.
It's very nice.
I mean, it's one of the great things about the D&D community. There's usually somebody out there somewhere who's done something like that, which you can just pinch. Yeah.
Yeah, all the maps I use is basically I've only made about 2 or 3 of them, but I do repurpose a lot that I use.
You can just download like the ship and then put it on an island thing, can't you? You can get like a little.
Yeah, so for like this ship, you could just copy and paste it and put it where you want. All right. So as you approach the shore, it's getting towards dusk. And the captain shouts out, "All right, This is as close as we get. You're gonna have to take a dinghy to shore. I don't want to hit that coral.
That's fine.
Understandable.
Have we got a dinghy? Where is it?
It's off the side. Mr. Foster actually walks over and shows you where it is. It's just a little paddle boat off to the side that was hooked up.
And what are you heading straight back across the sea, or are you staying here for some time?
Oh no, we're staying here. Once you set off that firework and the other ships arrive, once they've started to settle, then we'll take back off to get more porters.
Take care on your journey back. I wouldn't want to think anything terrible happened to you with that sea creature.
Well, we'll let everyone know where it's at, and we'll take an indirect route to get here.
Well, thank you for looking after us. Farewell on your homeward journey.
Aye, thank you.
So should we get this boat then?
Yes, sir.
Avalon is eager to get in this boat and get to land.
All right.
I'd like to get to land as well. Yes.
Actually, do I have?
A little boat.
I might. Nope, it's just a bunch of carts and wheelbarrows.
Nice.
All right, so yeah, Mr. Foster helps you onto the boat, and you make it to shore. Nice white sand, a little bit of algae, but not a whole lot. From your perspective, you did pass a lot of coral reef on the way in. It kind of creates this natural barrier encircling the coastline, so the much larger ships can't get in this area. But the smaller one, the Grand Duchess, was able to slip in and slip out without too much of an issue. Looking around, before you see the beginnings of the forest off about, let's get a good measurement, from the shoreline to about 120 feet where the forest starts. But as right here, you just got nothing but steady sand, the shore washing in and out, and the forest before you.
I sort of sink down in the sand. You know when you get off, you've been on a boat for a really long time, and you get off, and you kind of got those your legs take a while to adjust to being not having to sway. I sort of go down to my knees on the sand and kind of press my hands into the sand and kind of just put my hands through it.
Yeah, as you sink down, it gives way a little bit as you sink in, only a little bit. But the rest of it is just soft silt, almost like silk in your fingers.
Is it quite warm? Is it?
It is still the beginning of spring, so there is some heat to it, but it's only from the sun.
What sort of latitude are we at? I mean, because Baldur's Gate's quite reasonably far south, isn't it? So.
Mm-hmm. You went nearly straight west and a little bit north, but not too much.
Okay. Just sort of temperate, warm temperate.
Mm-hmm.
So I bring out the firework. Can anyone make fire?
I can.
I'm gonna light this and then I'll chuck it in the air.
Is that what we're supposed to do? I mean, what were the instructions again?
We need to see the other ships or not?
You can put it to the sky.
Yeah, do we need to wait? Because he said we need to wait until we can see the ships, but also, when we get to land, we need to show them, we need to put it in the air so they know where to come. So,
should we see if it's secure here first before we
Yeah.
see any threat?
Yeah.
I think it looks quite. There's nobody here, is there?
I suppose the last thing we want to do is let people know that we're here with a big firework in the sky, if they're a bit hostile.
All right. How far in are you going, and what are you looking for?
Just to see if there's. Well, I'm just looking to see if there's any creatures, anything moving, anything looks like maybe a threat. I mean, you've literally just set down the shoreline. It's not something. I mean, so you can see I suppose we can see the trees like about like 100 feet or so.
Mhm.
20 feet. Yeah.
Can I get a nature check, please?
Sure.
From all of us, or just
Anyone looking? Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking.
I'll have a look.
16.
Ew.
18.
Jeez. You say 2?
Yes.
2 gets nothing. But the 16, 18, and 21, as you look around, first for Zosina, as you look around, you're not really catching anything, but you see a lot of shells on the beach in front of you. Long been abandoned, no oysters, no pearls, but just remains of shells that have washed up from the coral. For everyone else, looking along the tree line, you see strange new birds, exotic, that you've not seen along the Sword Coasts. A few animals, small burrowing animals like rodents, rabbits, different shapes, longer ears, very, very new, but yet familiar of something you've seen before, but differently created. But peering into the woods, you do see at several locations what look to be small dogs roaming through the woods. They don't leave the wood coverage, but you can see about 5 of them inside. Just curious to what you're all doing.
We might have to be a bit careful. Do you see them too?
I do. They don't seem to be doing anything too threatening.
Can you talk to them, tree woman?
I can try. Maybe stay here for 10 minutes and let me just. And then she'll start her ritual chanting
Okay.
into a language you don't understand.
Yeah, so for these animals, they appear to be like wolf size, but they're a lot skinnier. Almost like a jackal face, a fox elongated nose, long ears, and tightened in stomachs.
Okay. As when she finished casting the spell, she's got, I think it's a minute or 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
She's got 10 minutes, and she'll start making her way forwards towards the dogs, looking very unthreatening, kind of in dog language, saying, "Hello, woof, hello."
So this isn't. Hold on, you're doing it magically, right?
Yeah, this is.
So if they speak a language,
speaking
okay.
with animals.
Any language.
You gain the ability to comprehend and verbally communicate with beasts for the duration. The knowledge and awareness of many beasts is limited by their intelligence, but at minimum, beasts can give you information about nearby locations, monsters, including whatever they perceive and have perceived within the past day. You might be able to persuade a beast to perform a small favor for you at the GM's discretion.
Okay. So what did you say again?
I'm trying to not be threatening and just kind of say hi and approach slowly and try and judge if they're hostile or if they're just, yeah, just kind of judging really.
As you say hi and start walking towards them, a few of them kind of duck their head down in a somewhat subservient manner, where they're not gonna come out at you from the tree line. But they don't respond back. They don't speak any words.
Okay. But we mean no harm. We're here. If you, is it just you guys here? Any other creatures?
Can I get a animal handling check?
That is a 24.
Oh, jeez. All right. One to the far right of you kind of speaks out. Its dialect is rather rough, like a language you haven't heard before in dog tones. But it's more like sand, not safe.
Oh. At that point, I'll gesture to everyone else. We need to get off the sand, I think. The dogs are fine. Come on, this way.
Okay.
Which way are you leading?
Straight towards the dog that said that to me.
All right. As you start heading straight, you feel a rumbling in the sand
Ooh.
as 2 large crabs jut out from the ground and start to approach you. The dogs run away and they're terrified as they take off.
I shout help towards them.
They're going. Can I get initiative for everyone?
Sure. 13 for Emmerich.
6 total.
No,
All
I
right.
don't think you can hear across the map.
These crabs come out, and they are vacuously hungry, as they haven't seen meat to satisfy their size in a long time, and they are coming for you all. Lear, you're up.
I'm gonna rage. I'm gonna run towards the closest one. I'm gonna get there.
All right, we're all set up.
Very efficient. Way
They're about 80 to 80 feet each.
I move 30 feet closer then.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You're caught up to Avalon.
Okay. Javelin. That one.
Which one? This one?
Closest one, yeah.
Closest one? All right. Go and roll.
I need to be at advantage. Disadvantage. It's not within 30 feet, is it?
From here, I think it's 50 feet, as you only went 30. So yeah, it's about 50.
19.
Oh, that's a hit.
Do 8 damage.
All right, as you launch your javelin, it pierces right in between the armor, catching it just between one of the arms, and it shrieks in pain. All right, anything else?
Crabs, and then that's my turn.
All right. The crab that you just struck is angry and is charging for you. Let's see. 5, 10, 15, 20. It's striking at Avalon.
Okay.
It's going to swing with its giant claw. That is 14 to hit.
Yeah, I think that's a hit. What's my old
Right.
class? Let me quickly check.
I see 12 on my side.
Yeah, 12.
All right, you take 5 bludgeoning damage.
Ouch. Okay.
Next up, Emmerich and Zilcina next.
Okay, I'm going to move parallel to try and position myself behind where Lear and where behind Lear is.
5, 10, that was 5, 10, 15.
Yeah, full movement, so 30 feet if possible, right behind those guys. So
5, 10, 15. Yeah, you're lined up.
yeah, position myself behind them, and then I'm going to cast Dissonant Whispers on the crab to my front, the one that's engaged already in combat.
Okay.
So that is. You cast all these. I've rolled the damage. That was a mistake. Oh yeah, sorry. It's Wisdom saving throw. Sorry, I thought it was a roll to attack. Sorry.
There's
yeah,
a 10.
They need to make a Wisdom saving throw. Yeah.
10.
That's a fail, so they take how much damage? If you want to take the damage roll that I just did.
And that was 10 damage.
Yeah, 10 damage, and they also have to flee as well.
Well, it can't flee because it collapses as it just has an apparent heart attack and falls down.
Okay, cool.
Anything else?
No, that's the end of my turn.
All right, Zilcina, you're up.
I shoot the cavalcade that's been up. My crossbow.
Okay. That's about, yep.
How about 80 feet?
Sorry, your microphone's cutting out. What'd you say?
What's it about 80 feet? I rolled 17.
17 hits.
Is 6 points of blood and 6 points of damage.
All right, yeah. As you fire again, you catch it between the armor across the eye, and it does 6 damage. It shrieks, but it's still up.
Be closer.
You said you're moving
Do 30 feet closer.
closer. Okay. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. All right. Anything else?
And that's it. No,
That's
all
it?
I can do for now.
All right. The crab, who is angered after getting shot in the face with a bolt. 5, 10, 15 is striking at you with its claw.
Okay.
That is a 14. That does not hit.
Nope.
As it slams its claw towards you, it just embeds itself in the sand and it rakes across back towards it, leaving a giant divot. Avalon, you're up.
She's gonna kind of stand. She's pretty beaten up. She's gonna be like, "Watch out, their claws!" And then she's gonna run over maybe 20 feet towards the other one. I don't want to get too close.
5, 10, 15, 20.
Yeah, about there. And then as she puts her hands up, she casts Infestation.
Ooh.
So a cloud of mites, fleas, and other parasites appear momentarily on the creature. They need to do a Constitution saving throw.
That is a 15.
What is my spell save? It's 13. Damn it! Takes 1d4, 1d6 poison damage. Oh,
You rolled a 6.
I am going to read this just in case that doesn't work. The target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw, or it takes 1d6 poison damage and moves 5 feet in the direction. Oh, so it doesn't because it succeeded. Okay. No, it doesn't take it. Just
Okay.
just brushes them off.
Yeah, as far as seafaring bugs and insects, it's one of the largest, and it just shakes it off. It's not concerned about whatever happened. All right, top of the order, Lear.
Okay, charge towards it again.
5, 10, 15, 20.
Okay, and then I'm gonna swing my great attack.
All right, go ahead and roll.
22, I assume that hits.
That definitely hits.
Then that is 12 damage.
10 damage. As you lift your great axe up, you just embed it into its head, slicing its head off as the creature collapses. And then is no more. It stops moving. There's a few flinching of its legs as it's recoiling, but we're out of battle rounds.
That was so much better than my mites. Thank you.
Avalon, are you okay?
I'm pretty hurt. Hang on. I will be okay. And you'll see her again start to capture some good berries. We should probably get off the sand though.
Yeah.
You take a bit of crab meat with it.
You can take whatever part you want.
Should we just hack off the big claws, the kind of the meat claws? They're probably quite nice.
Taste this bit.
Yeah, if you rip off, can I get a survival check? Anyone that's scavenging these things?
Survival. What is my survival? It's +2.
21.
13.
Yeah, everyone, you're able to pull off large chunks of meat. Probably about 5 days worth of rations if you prepared it and dried it out properly. Or if you cook it tonight, it's just a giant piece of crab meat.
Barbecue at the beach.
Probably cook some. and
Not
then
on the beach.
keep the rest to smoke. Around the fire, couldn't we?
I look over to the half orc. Can you carry this as well? It's a big claw. Probably bigger than I am.
That should be fine.
I'll help cook it, although I feel like a certain someone over here might be better than I am at that.
Well, I can carry an extra.
I'm the cook now.
You're amazing at it.
probably couldn't carry everyone's ration.
Just all these claws.
Fine with my cool.
All right. So what are y'all doing?
Oh, can you see the ships in the distance yet?
Can I get a perception check from everyone looking?
Okay, we'll look. 17.
17.
Uh, the 17 will see it. Yeah, you see two of the ships faintly in the fog on the horizon.
I can make them out.
Coming.
They're coming. Off in the distance. I don't know. Should we light it now?
Yeah.
Shoot it. In the
Okay,
dark,
well-
it will show better, right?
Leah, do you want to hold it up and I'll light it?
Do I just hold it? I don't
Yeah,
know.
and then hold it. Wait, and click my fingers, press digitation, and light the fuse.
Yeah, it's lit and in your hand, Lear.
Okay. I'm gonna throw it as far as I can straight up.
All right. Can I get a straight strength check?
Will I be raging still?
Sure.
That was worse.
Can I attempt to, I've got mage hand, and can I try and redirect it as he's thrown it and push it in the right direction?
You're trying to lead it, essentially.
Yeah. If it's sort of like going off course, am I able to kind of grab it with mage hand and push it in the right direction?
Sure. Yeah, as the wick starts to burn, and you toss it roughly 130 feet straight up in the air. It hits its rocket point and then shoots up even farther, and explodes several feet, about 300 feet up in the air, just leaving this giant, glittery orb of gold dust in the air.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Because of course it's Aurum, it's going to be gold.
Cool.
I don't doubt they haven't seen that.
As the boom goes off, you hear several rustling in the woods of creatures being startled, moving. Just everything has been disturbed. And from your point, you actually hear some slight shouting from the captain on the ship. Hey! Hey! And you see him kind of gesturing towards the south.
Can we see anything if we look that way?
As you look up towards the south, you see this colossal creature way up in the sky as two large serpentine wings flowing above with a long, elongated tail and neck. For the sake of
Something
it,
you might have seen before?
it's up to you.
I shout out in animal talk. Sorry.
It doesn't really respond to you, but you see it clearly from the south heading north and kind of circles around where the firework went off and then heads off further north.
Okay, so it's not.
More of a curiosity than anything.
What was that? Have you seen that the like of that before?
And it was a shining silvery texture.
Look like what the dragons look like.
They need a dragon.
Yeah, you're probably the expert on this, aren't you? Being a dragon person.
Just because I'm a dragonborn doesn't mean I know everything about dragons.
Sorry, was that racist?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable to say you might know more about them than we do. Maybe.
But I'm sorry
I
for
reckon
like, didn't try to. It's ignorance, not like bigotry. I swear.
It's fine. I know. Do I recognize that dragon?
What you got from it is a. Actually, what did he tell me it was? Let me check real quick, because I want to get it right. Search in. I'll give you a brief description on it. There we go. Yeah, it's a massive wingspan with opposable thumbs on the ends, clearly 4 legs, and it's got a silverish hue with a large silhouette. But as far as you knowing them personally, no, you do not.
Okay. From what you can see, kind of dark as well, so it's hard to fully make out what it is. It has large wingspan.
Do you think it's dangerous?
Just say I don't want to mess around with it.
Maybe we should keep out of its line of sight in case it comes back.
Do best.
Can we try and maybe hit the tree line and set up camp for the night?
Yeah, can do.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you move into the tree line. And can everyone give me a history check?
Let's try
13.
19.
6.
All right, so you recall your contract where any new locations you're allowed to name, and this beach was not on the map that you had listed.
Well, anyone care to think of a nice name place for this? All I've got is Landing Point, and I think that's a bit rubbish.
Could name it after the captain, like Captain's Cove.
That is a nice name.
What was the captain's name again?
It's
Uh,
Captain Roderick.
Radek.
Roderick.
Captain Radek.
Radix Landing? Perhaps.
It is whatever you decide.
Yeah, Radix Sand, Radix Landing, Radix Coral, Radix Landing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. If it's all agreed, from henceforth, the coast is now as Radek Landing, and the map will be updated.
Cool.
And then from here, you break camp, and you await the arrival of the remaining ships, and that is where we're going to end.
Nice.
Cool. That's nice.
First touch point. Not sure about the sand.
Evil sand.